there, Simon from simonwoods.com. Half an hour to go. Germany, England. Who will win? I've got 6 champagnes. Will I be drinking them later to drown my sorrows or to celebrate? I'm not just me. I'm got off to a barbecue as soon as I've done this video. So let's give them a whirl. The first 2 pairs, the idea of these is I've got the regular Brut from 2 houses and also their what's called a non-dosage edge. A bit of technical stuff here. When they make champagne, they make a regular wine, then add a little bit of yeast and a little bit of sugary liquid, shove it in a bottle. There's a secondary fermentation that shoves the bubbles in. You get this little plug of yeast, and they twist it round and twist it round until it's sitting on top of the cork. Shove the cork into bucket of ice. It freezes the top. Pull the cork out. And it comes out with this frozen yeasty plug. Then, if they like, they put what they call liqueur de dosage in, and sometimes it's slightly sweet, sometimes it's just reserve wine, sometimes they don't actually put anything in, and that's the idea of the non-dosage ones. So whereas a regular Brut will have something in that makes it have about between 8 and 12 grams of what's called residual sugar per litre, I've got one here from Laurent Perrier and another one from Philippe Ponat where they haven't added any sugar. So let's see if there's a difference between the non-dosage one and the regular one. So this is Laurent Perrier's non-dosage. Well, smell it, and it smells elegant, smoky, toasty, and it smells like it's going to be sleek. And yes, it's got always this slightly burnt, baked edge to it. If dry caramel means anything to you, that's what I get here. Dry burnt sugar. Yeah, and there's a nice yeasty elegance to it. It feels very sleek, very... Yeah, it's a supermodel. It's not all that much flesh on it. Maybe I'd prefer it with a little bit more flesh for a wine if you're going to sit there and drink it by itself. But have that with some sushi or something. It's got this quite a long finish. Lots of flavour there. Getting things like nuts, maybe a bit of apple, green apple coming through, and this fine, toasty, smoky, yeasty finish. Very nice wine. Next one up is the regular Laurent Perrier. What's the difference? Doesn't smell of all that much at the moment. Give it a whirl in a regular wine glass. I don't know if you've noticed that, but there's a move in certain quarters to drinking champagne in proper wine glasses rather than in champagne flutes. It's a wine. Why not give it a chance to excuse me, he said burping. That's the problem with champagne. It does make you burp. They never. That's a great advertising campaign. Champagne, it makes you burp. Hey, by gum, ecky thump. Anyway, I'll shut up and taste it. Yes, there's a family resemblance. It's got some of those sleek, elegant flavours, but the dosage, it's not making it actively sweet, but what it's doing is just rounding it out a little bit more. And as I was saying before, the Laurent Perrier non-dosage by itself, maybe just a little bit too, not scrawny and acidic, but yes, you do notice some of its bones a bit. Whereas here, it's got that little bit of flesh to round it out. Gives it almost like a baked apple character. Maybe a bit of pineapple here. Same sort of toasty, nutty, yeasty characters coming through. Still sleek, but whereas I'd drink that one by itself, I'd want that one with some food. Some smoked salmon. And go down a whirl. Right, okay, next 2 are a similar exercise from the house of Philippe Ponat. So this is the non-dosage one, and they're very helpfully put on the back. Vendange 2005, plus some reserve wine. So in other words, it's mostly from the 2005 vintage, and topped it up with some older wines just to flesh it out. Well, this smells like it's going to be a fuller-bodied style than the Laurent Perrier. It smells more winey, and I don't know what the blend is here, but I'm getting some of that quite elegant Chardonnay edge coming through. And yes, it feels like it's going to be richer, fuller-bodied, but still sleek. It's a very classy wine, that. I like this. There's this smoky, slightly yeasty bread dough type of edge coming through, and it's almost like bread dough, the dough rather than the actual bread itself. It's got that smell just before the bread goes in the oven. When it's done, when it's risen, and there's some of those yeasty bubbles that are lifting the dough up. But again, fruit flavours coming through. It's more on the dried fruits end. Dried crystallised pineapple, some of that green apple. Tasty wine. But again, food wine, not really. I think by itself it's just got a few too many bare bones. Let's see whether the regular brut, the Royal Reserve as they call it, whether that's got extra flesh to make it a drink by itself type of wine. And this one says based on 2006 vintage, so should taste a bit younger. But the thing is, as a champagne age, it gets softer, gets a bit more mellow, and you need less dosage. So older wines, because they've got the roundness of maturity, yeah, you don't need quite as much dosage to get them through. Yes, and it does smell fuller. It smells like it's got like baked apples, a bit of raisin. Again, that edge of pineapple, slightly honeyed edge too. That's a lovely wine. I think I'll hide that in a corner and save that for half time when the lads are doing their analysis. Again, I think that's food wine. It's almost got too much flavour and too much bite to have as a drink by itself. It's got structure. Maybe a bit of tannins even. You don't think of white wine and having tannins, but I notice a little bit of something there, almost like apple core. Yeah, it's like green apple core. You know, if you leave an apple out and it goes slightly brown, but it's still got that green edge to it. Nutty, toasty, some brioche. Ooh, and there's a creaminess, a nice, really nice texture to it. I like the Laurent Perriers, but the Philipponas are a step up. They are really two rather classy wines there. Final pair. These happen to be hanging around, so they need tasting. And Mum. Now Mum, this is just Mum's regular Cordon Rouge. And a few years ago, Mum, if someone had showed me a bottle of Mum, I'd have said, ugh. But I'd say in the last decade or so, they've really got their act together. I think they've got a new chap in charge of the cellars. And the wine quality has improved quite a lot. It used to be one of those where there was like a scrawny rawness to it, ever so slightly stale edge, and they'd almost try to overcompensate by that by putting extra dosage in there to, you know, the spoonful of sugar, Mary Poppins, medicine, and all that. Anyway, so I smell this and it smells younger than the Philippona wines. I'm not sure what the base vintage would be, but it smells like it's going to be younger, not quite as complex. Yeah, it's certainly not as concentrated. It's got a nice rounded smoothness to it, and I think that the dosage has been quite nicely handled there. You do notice maybe not the depth of flavour that you're getting in the Philipponas and the Laurent Perrier, but as a complete wine, it's satisfying. It's yeah, it's a nice aperitif. Yes, it's nice in preparation for the kick-off. I mean, if Fabio Capello wanted to give the boys half a thimble full of that before they went on Mum's the Word, I think they'd. I don't know if they'd play any better. We'll have to see. So good. And I wouldn't have been saying that a decade ago, I don't think. Final one from the same, well, both Mum and Perrier-Jouet owned by Pernod Ricard. And so the two well-known brands. This is the Perrier-Jouet Grand Brut. Doesn't smell of all that much, actually, this one. Maybe not as tasty as the Mum. It's more rounded, soft and smooth, but I think the Mum's got a little bit extra flavour, extra depth of flavour. This is inoffensive. You certainly wouldn't complain if someone, I wouldn't find not what I call plant pot wine. You don't want to pour it away as soon as you've had a sip. It does feel nice, gentle, solid wine. But for me, the stars here are those two Philippona wines. But I think the Laurent Perriers showed well too. Anyway, I'm off now. England are going to whop the Germans, I hope. But if they don't, then I've got something to drown my sorrows in. See you soon.